Hi, my name is Brooke. Welcome to my channel. I don't know what the name of this channel is yet. When I figure that out, I'll let you know, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I do know why I'm starting this channel, and that is to let you follow along with my journey from binge eating to intuitive eating. I'm going to give you a bit of information in this video about who I am and why I'm doing this, and that would include my history with disordered eating, and I'm going to sort of lay out what I plan for this video channel, for this YouTube channel to be. So what I'm thinking is that I will share book reviews, podcast reviews. I'm always on the lookout for information in the media about intuitive eating, eating disorders, body image, body positivity, health at every size, and those are things that I subscribe to and really feel strongly about. Sort of just talking about all of that stuff, and then working through the principles of intuitive eating and doing some of the emotional work. So you know, like, this channel is going to be very raw and unfiltered. I'm raw and unfiltered. I think that there's a lot of people, myself included, who are scared shitless at the idea of recovery from binge eating using intuitive eating, because we're scared of gaining weight, and that there's a lot of emotion behind all of that, and I plan on talking about all of that. But at the same time, I do want to be respectful of other people. I don't want to trigger people. I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm coming from a place of judgment or not being body positive or accepting of size. Although I do admit part of the reason why I'm having a problem with my intuitive eating journey so far is, you know, 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layers down, there is still bias there. I need to work through that, and I need to get honest with myself about all of that. I think a lot of us do. And you know, I really struggled with the idea of, should I do this? Will anyone watch this? I think that was my biggest thought, was like, I'm just this 42-year-old mom who's gonna watch my YouTube channel. But I think, well, if no one watches it, that's fine. But I think that there might be people who are interested in doing this, A, because they want to see if someone else is able to do it, fingers crossed, and B, because we usually only see 2 types of people doing and promoting intuitive eating in the interwebs world. And that is people who are very large, or people who are much smaller, who have recovered usually from anorexia and bulimia. And I think that is because we're societally okay with someone who is small gaining weight in order to recover and reach wellness, because they're still going to remain somewhat small. And if someone who is much larger, say a size 24, is doing intuitive eating and they go up to a size 26, society has already written that person off. Or if they, you know, they're a size 24 and they stay at a size 24, same thing, frankly. People kind of poo-poo the idea of someone being a size 24 and knowing for themselves that they're at a place of wellness. The rest of the world is kind of like, oh, isn't that cute? But really, that person could be living their absolute best life, have a totally healthy, well-rounded, varied diet, and be active and be at their set point. Who am I to say? Who are you to say? We don't know. I tend to believe that, though, when someone says that they've reached that point of wellness, I'm all for it. But in society, we've got this idea of small fat, medium fat, large fat, and those of us who are in the small fat category, I'm currently a size 14, we got a lot to lose, because we're on the knife's edge of losing our relative thin privilege. And, you know, we know that we're due for the talk with the doctor if we gain a little bit of weight, people saying things, not being able to shop in the same stores. And so we're really freaked out by the idea of intuitive eating and gaining weight. And so I'm thinking that segment, there's a whole bunch of us chubby ladies who are fucking tired of dieting and hungry and love the idea of intuitive eating, but kind of like, I hope someone else does it because I'm scared. I'm scared too, but the reason why I have to do this is because I can't diet anymore. Like, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I have a 6-month-old little girl, And while I was pregnant with her, I had something called hyperemisis gravadarium, and it's a very fancy Latin way of saying extreme nausea and vomiting in pregnancy. So I was vomiting up to 40 times a day. I was, my mental capacity was like zilch, zero. I was so sick, and it was so insane that it wasn't that different from a crazy extreme diet. Yes, there was the whole pregnancy, and no, I had never used bulimia. But everything else about it, like the weirdness around food, the binging, the starving, the this, and all of the things, and losing 40 pounds during pregnancy, it just triggered me to remember all of the stuff that I had done. And I said to myself, I am never, ever fucking around with my body, my weight, and I'm not messing with this body anymore. And I'm not gonna raise a daughter and have her be around my weirdness with food. I need to deal with this. And so that's why I'm here. Prior to that, I'd been restricting for about a decade. Prior to that, I had had lap band surgery. If you know anything about lap band surgery, it is a bariatric surgery, so a weight loss surgery designed to help you lose weight. It is also a piece of shit, and they rushed it to market, and naive and gullible people like myself read those studies and didn't really question the fact that none of the results were past 18 months because it was basically untested. And now what you have is a whole bunch of people who had lap band surgery who had tons of complications and not a lot of weight loss. I was actually one of the people who was quote unquote successful, but it hasn't worked for like almost 8 to 10 years. Prior to that, my highest weight was 324 pounds. As far as I know, I didn't always weigh myself. And prior to that, I worked in the eating disorder field, specifically with binge eating disorder. At that time, intuitive eating was really just kind of coming onto the scene, and it was the more radical approach for treatment, but a lot of practitioners didn't use it. A lot of practitioners at that time still relied on sort of like a kinder version of a diet and food plans and dealing with the emotional stuff too. But there just wasn't like a lot of wisdom and experience with it, and most people, especially practitioners, turned it into a hunger fullness diet, and there was still a huge systemic bias against fatness and weight in the eating disorder world. I mean, the binge eating patients represented the least appealing eating disorder. It was everyone's worst fear to be that large person. And there was also this bias in terms of like, you could working more like working in the industry, but also trying to receive treatment, but working with the practitioners, there was this underlying frustration with binge eaters of like, can't they get their fucking shit together? Why are they so hard to treat? Look at this, what's going on over here? Why are they so hard to treat? It was almost like they were angry at them for being so difficult to treat. I'm hoping that in the ensuing 10, 15 years now almost since then, that there is more like that the eating disorder world has checked its own shit kind of thing. I'm already finding a big difference, so that's refreshing. And then prior to that was a chubby 20-something, chubby teenager, and an average size kid. And so that's sort of like big picture, my history of weight and size and brushes with treatment and binge eating and intuitive eating. But I'm going to be really honest and raw on here. I'm going to tell my truth, and I always hope to never offend anyone. If I do, please let me know. But part of doing this is sharing my views and the way that I see the world. So please bear that in mind. I think that we're adults and we can handle it. I look forward to sharing this with you, and I look forward to recovering, and hopefully that's what we see together, is that this can be done, and an average, lady with 2 kids and a messy house and an average life can recover from this eating disorder, then you can too, and we can do it together. Thanks for watching.